Package for Donnie?
Oh, yes. Ooh. It's a cute outfit for Helena.
Who's Helena?
Oh, that's not Helena. That's Helena.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Sunday, September 6th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and joining us live here on the weekend, we got Tess Mellis.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Tessie. We got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey.
Hey-o.
We got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to everyone joining us live right now on YouTube and or listening to the podcast a little bit later today and or watching YouTube a little bit later. Shout out to you as well for you people not joining us live. Keep your questions and your comments coming for Beach Steppin'. We'll be doing it later this week. Email them in nodunks@theathletic.com or tweet them in at No Dunks Inc. We're fired up once again here on No Dunks. The Raptors fans are happy. Let's get right into it, Tass. Raps beat the Celtics 100-93 to even the East semifinal series at two games apiece.
I guess Fred VanVleet was right when he ran down the hallway after game 3 and said, ho, they effed up now. After OG Anunoby hit that three-point shot, you can't give the Raps life. It was a bunch of threes that the Raps found. They played incredible defense as well. I was just shocked there wasn't a lot of enthusiasm on Twitter after some fantastic play from the Raptors to find these open threes and to hit these open shots for Fred VanVleet to be relocating. I thought, other than you dancing, Skeets, to a little northern touch, it just feels like the Raps fans, I don't know, this is time to jump to conclusions here. That's what we do as Raptors fans. That's what we do as sports fans. And I know it was supposed to be a long series here. We're supposed to get to 7 games, and it took a little bit of a circuitous route to get to 4 to 2-2. And we all sort of expected it, but come on, let's jump on this. Let's jump on this big time because the Raps, they rattled the Celtics. I'm sure the Celtics will be back in game 5, but that was as good as it gets if you're a Raptors fan. It was ugly across the board. Like they didn't have a lot of flow to their game. But they just got enough. They just got enough done in that third quarter, especially when they hit those 3 threes. I thought Raptors Twitter, I thought the internet would be booming, but it was I don't know, it was a little subdued. Maybe it's a Saturday night. Do I have any stats to back that up? Absolutely not. Do I have the engagement stats? No. But yeah, we're in for a fight here because I think the Celtics will bounce back, but it's time to jump to some conclusions here.
I think, when I throw these games at you guys, I usually grab the Associated Press headline just to keep it simple. Let's get right into it. And I think this one is interesting because I said it there, Raptors beat the Celtics. And usually when I do these, the AP likes to put in like Jamal Murray leads the Nuggets or a Kawhi leads the Clippers or LeBron and AD lead the Lakers. But this one's just straight up Raptors because it was an all-around team effort. I mean, it was Siakam, getting going, still garbage from outside, but inside had it going. 23 and 11 rebounds. Lowry doing classic Lowry things. 22 and 11 boards as well. VanVleet was 17, 6 and 6. And then Ibaka. My God, Serge Ibaka, 18 points off the bench, 7 of 9 shooting. He had the huge block on, I guess it was Tice's dunk attempt there. It's an all-around team effort here. Those guys all doing their little part there offensively and then defensively, Lee. I mean, it's not pretty. That's what VanVleet said. We're okay with that. We're okay being ugly, basically, is what he's saying, because it gets the job done. They were helped out by, of course, the Celtics having what the Raptors had in game 1 where they just couldn't hit a three-pointer, especially Jaylen Brown turning into John Starks there for a second.
Yeah, and on the defensive end, Jaylen Brown was sort of subdued somewhat because he was in foul trouble and he was just having a bad game. And Pascal took advantage of that, by going at him and taking some of those in the lane shots, those little flicky ones that he does and the little step back, because he knew that Jaylen Brown really couldn't be too aggressive. So that's great. But you say it's a great team effort. I'm going to say, you know what? It was 5 and a bit players, though. That's all it is on that team right now, because Marc Gasol, it's like, he almost screwed up at the end there where he couldn't get that loose ball rebound, and it went to Jason Tatum, who got the and one, which really sort of was like, this could have been a game-changing moment. And then off the bench, Norm Powell. Now, to be fair to Norm Powell, it's a little bit hard to get into and establish any flow when you're in the game, and then the coach is kind of like, oh, man, Norm, what are you doing? Are you going to score tonight? Are you going to be good, Norm, or bad, Norm? And he had the quick hook again. And then Matt Thomas played a handful of minutes, but that doesn't really count. So it's really the starting 5, and then Serge and Marc Gasol are splitting those minutes. And other than that, there's no one else who Nick Nurse really trusts right now, which we saw that. I mean, Kyle Lowry is playing 44 minutes, diving for loose balls, going out at the end. But Nick Nurse is like, these are my best guys. These are the ones I can trust, and this is what I have to go with. So that's what the Raptors' strategy is going to be, I'm sure, for the remainder of this series, because those are the only guys he trusts. But I think what's really important here is that for the Raptors, they took advantage of a bad night for the Celtics, and that is very important to do, because the Celtics were still in this game. They still could have pulled this one out. If Jaylen Brown doesn't miss his first 9 threes, because he hit a couple at the end, then maybe they're still in this. But things didn't quite go the Celtics' way. Even Tatum didn't have a great game here for them, but the Raptors made sure that they didn't sort of cough this one up at the end and give the momentum back to the Celtics. So I think this is one of those ones that's like, could this be a turning point in the series, or is it just a matter of the Celtics shaking it off and being better in Game 5 for the rest of the series? We'll find out. But I think for the Raptors, going forward, the concern is will these minutes catch up with them at some point, because Nick Nurse can't go deep into his bench, or is it just a matter of like, it's playoffs, you got to be ready, you got to go out there and put your body on the line no matter what?
Yeah, Nick Nurse said that they're ready to play all these minutes, right? He said we're used to it. We went to the title, and maybe that's why people weren't so excited on Twitter yesterday, Tess. Act like you've been there before is what they're saying in the chat. Winning a second-round game, who cares? That being said, I did still see Alex Wong and William Liu tweeting, you can't underestimate the heart of a champion, the classic Raptors refrain this season. But honestly, it was true. It was still a close game in the fourth quarter, and the Celtics played like they had never won a championship before. They were really pressing. Brad Stevens said afterwards that they were trying to make the home run play, and that's exactly what it felt like. There was that time when Tatum attacked a 1-on-5 fast break, which looks awesome if it works out, but when you're trying to come back, not always the greatest move. It just seemed like everybody was trying to make back the 5 or 6 point deficit with one shot, and it was just not happening, especially for Jaylen Brown. The guy started 0 for 9 from 3. He ended up making his last 2, I suppose, but there's going to be games when Marcus Smart hits 5 threes in a quarter in the fourth quarter to win you a game. And if there's a game when Jaylen Brown starts off 0 for 9 from 3, it's going to be tough to win. But you got to find out other avenues of getting offense. And that was not Kemba Walker yesterday. And that could be an advantage for the Celtics if they're able to find out a way to get Walker some more looks. He said only 9 attempts. That's not enough. I got to be more aggressive in Game 5. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah, Kemba's got to be more Kyle-like, let's be honest. Like, he's got to really hunt his own shot there, and Kyle did it again to set the tone in this one. I mean, he was putting up the points early again, and again, just had an unbelievable game. And you said there, Lee, just it was interesting to me, you're like, huge minutes, right? Siakam, Freddie, Lowry, I think all playing over 43 minutes, so 43 to 45 minutes, those 3 guys. Your 3 best players in Game 4, and you're worried, like, will it catch up to them, as this series goes on? So a Game 6 or a Game 7, all those heavy minutes. Fair, but the counter to that is what Bud's doing in the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, there's no catching up if there is no Game 6 or 7. There's no even concern that it might be too much for Giannis come a Game 7 when you don't even get there, because you're only playing your guys 35, 36 minutes. I mean, it's just such a glaring difference, especially when the Raptors all regular season long, this Nick Nurse he's not a D'Antoni. He's not playing 6 or 7 guys throughout the regular season. Now, I know injuries come into play, but we talked about the Raptors' depth tasks all season long. Like, oh, look at where are these guys coming from? Boucher, oh my God, Terrence Davis, Matt Thomas. Oh, Hollis Jefferson is giving them something. We talked like about 10 or 11 guys on the Raps. And so you could see why, like Budenholzer, got to play them all. They've all contributed. Got to get them out there. No, Nurse says, screw that. I mean, no one's playing harder than Lowry. No one's more important than our player in Siakam and Van Vliet. Play them. And he did. And it ended up working. I mean, of course, they pulled this out. It was an 8-point lead at the end of 3. Celtics could just never get closer than 5. A lot of the reason being those guys, especially defensively, were just making big plays to keep the Celtics, sort of a stiff arm to keep them at bay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a concern at all that these guys are playing minutes. If there's any time to be playing your guys heavy minutes, it's in this bubble where you don't have to travel. The start times aren't jumping all around. This is the time to play some extra minutes. And Pascal is as young as heck. And I know everybody sort of just rides him and looks at the percentages. He was 2 of 13 from 3-point land yesterday, but he was 8 for 10 from inside the arc. And that opens things up for the guys on the outside. And the guys on the outside, to get into some nitty gritty, I know that, you even look at Fred and Kyle's percentages, not good. No. They both shot 31% from the floor, but they hit 5 threes and 4 threes respectively because they were hunting them very well. And they saw what Brad Stevens was trying to do. Sometimes he was dropping coverage. Sometimes he brought up Daniel Tice to the nail to hang out. Sometimes he tried to take the ball away, but that's when Fred VanVleet said, I was gnashing a little bit. Fred VanVleet used the verb, I was gnashing. Yeah. Gnashing being that you keep dribbling all over the place. Credit to Blake Murphy for writing that down. But that's a great verb. Yeah, so he was gnashing all over the place, and he relocated and hit those 2 big threes. They were hunting them, and they did it really, really well. They just found what the defense was giving them, and they figured it out. While Nick Nurse on the other side was playing some wild stuff, playing a ton of zone against the Celtics, which you have to do. That's the way you stall their offense because they're sort of an outside shooting team that seems to be working. And plus they put a little box and one when Jason Tatum was driving like an animal. He's been doing great driving to the hoop throughout this series. And so they decided to try and just cover him. It was a war of attrition. That's what these games are. Yep. The Celtics and the Raps. And that's cool. Their offensive ratings, through these 4 games, if you had rated them amongst the regular season ratings, would be 29th and 30th amongst the 30 teams. They're bad because the defense is so good. But that's why they have to shoot a ton of threes to sort of make up for it, to get your +1 every possession. And you mentioned Serge Ibaka. I just want to give him some more kudos. Yeah, he had 4 threes in this game. The guy does not stop hitting those threes throughout this postseason. In 6 of the 8 games, he's hit multiple threes. In 3 of the 4 games here in the Celtics series, he's hit multiple threes, and he didn't do that last year at all. Actually, when you look back,
Marcus Gasol was hitting all the threes for the Raptors last year. Yeah, you're right.
As the big, but Serge he's doing it even more than I don't remember Mark's numbers from last year, but he's got to be hitting more threes than Marcus Gasol was.
I think so.
Yeah, he's just. Everybody talks about Brook Lopez. Oh, he's evolved and became a 3-point shooter. When you played OKC back in the day, you'd laugh. You'd beg Serge Ibaka to pick and pop and shoot a 3 along if he was taking a pop from Russell Westbrook. But coming off the bench and playing that defense, monstrous 18 points to be their second or their leading scorer off the bench, I should say, and contributing over and over and over on both ends.
And the hashtag Stand with Skeets movement grows and grows by the day. All of you gentlemen getting in on it last night. Lee and Trey again. Even Tassie getting up there in a beautiful tie-dye shirt, showing off his gigantic TV. See that flex? Nice perspective on that, Tass.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, that's all it is. It's just ratios, as you were saying, Skeets. Your camera person, Nora, is way back, so your TV looks small. My TV's not that big. It's just giant.
Yeah, but you have the beautiful mount. We've talked about this before. You got an awesome mount that drops down. Way better than yours, Lee. No offense.
It's the same as Lee's.
Lee's is broken, man.
He just doesn't know how to
Did you see how I had the angle last night? So it didn't sort of seem too wonky.
Yeah, you did nice.
I was even going to put that in the tweet. I was going to say, I know it's wonky, just relax. But then I thought, you know what? It doesn't look too bad tonight. So.
But Nora wanted to know, did you purposely wet your hair and slick it back for the photo?
So what I do is I get my run/walk in before the game start when it's a little bit cool. It's just started to turn.
Sure.
So I come home, I'm still sweaty, so I have a quick shower and then I watch the game. Yeah. So I'm not just slicking it up for the game. It's part of my pregame routine to get my run in,
A shower, a slick, and a stand. That gets you a win. Skeets, are you regretting not standing for the first 2 games? This could have been a sweep.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. This is why I started, bringing it back there for game 3. You're right. I wasn't doing my job. Now I'm into these games. I'm locked in. And, it's nerve-wracking, especially like you talked about there, Tass. They might as well put Zaza Pachulia, the GIF, up in those video boards for these games because there's nothing easy. Like nothing from either of these teams because the defense is so good. Yeah, a little bit, Trey, a little bit, but this is going to make it even sweeter, right? If the Raps go on to win this, I still think it will be in 7. One of these stand with Skeets nights is not going to work, I think. I think we're gonna get a hot Celtics performance and the Beantown boys will be all over me. But
Sit down, man.
But I still like Raps in 7. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be worth it, regardless if they can move on. It's a fun series. I'm glad. I'm at least, of course, I'm happy because I'm a Raptors fan. But OG hits the 3, and we even have a series here that I was pretty confident after OG hits it that the Raptors would win a game 4. You had the confidence of Van Vliet. These guys have been here, and Lowry. I mean, before we move on, like again, Lee, the guy is everywhere. He like Taz is right. The shooting numbers, they're not amazing. He hits the 3s, that's big, but just his imprint is all over the game. It's everywhere on the damn floor. His body is all over the floor, of course. Literally. I mean, there's a sweat mark of Kyle Lowry probably everywhere there. He's just relentless. He just will not. He just gives it his all. I mean, it's all cliche stuff with him, but it's all true.
But that's what a leader does, though, is he says, I'm just going to show you what I do, and this is how much it means to me. You saw him when he fought for that ball where he scrapped for it like after 44 minutes, diving out of bounds. I think it was actually overturned and went back to the Celtics after that. But basically showing a jump ball, was it? Yeah.
They said it went off both guys simultaneously. When do you hear that?
That's the classic double foul almost in the NBA. But
all I was thinking was, man, what if Kyle Lowry, once he went out of bounds, had turned into a chair? This game, this call would be so easy. The man becomes a chair. It's that easy.
I thought you were going to say if only we could have gone to Steve Javi to say it.
Right call. It did come off both players at the same time, so that is the correct call by the rest. But honestly, though, when coaches talk about sacrifice and taking for the team, we know on the defensive end, Kyle is trying to take every single charge he can. He got a couple, I think, last night and tried for a few more. But then on the offensive end, some of those shots he takes are sometimes like, but he's like, this is what I need to do for my team. And he goes out there and knocks them in, and he still drives and he still gets the contact. He sets screens. He does absolutely everything, and he doesn't complain about it. And again, that to me is what really epitomizes how to lead from the front and to say, I'm putting everything out there on the floor. So if anyone else isn't doing it, then you're not sort of putting up as much as I am. And I think that just gives other guys confidence to go out there and do it. So, he's so incredible and so inspiring to watch out there play because it means so much to him and he fights so hard for every single possession.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed with him too, just quickly here, Tass, he knows that the Celtics defense is so damn good, especially when it gets time to set up, right? That you'll see Lowry push off of even a made Celtics basket. He'll go. He will go, and he'll just sort of probe to see, is there anything here? Can I get a mismatch? He had that early in the game, quickly got a mismatch on the Time Lord, on Williams, because he just sort of penetrated enough that they had to switch, and then he worked on him, and he got to the line. He got 2 fouls, blowing by the big guy there. Just little things like that where he's like, Celtics are so damn good defensively. If I can maybe find a little something here, again, just by pushing the tempo a little bit, I don't need to force it, and he does at times. Everybody's guilty of that, but it's just like those tiny little things where it's like, damn, this guy his basketball IQ is unreal. And then you pair that with the will of this guy. I feel so proud watching him, Tass, because I want to say this, Trey, because there's been 2 things I have absolutely nailed correctly in my life. Well, 3 if I count you guys, working with you guys. So I'll add that to the mix. But the first one is, of course, very early on in my relationship with Nora going, she's the one. Let's roll. 20 years later, here we are. And the same can be said for Kyle Lowry, okay? His second game with the Raptors, I was like, I love this guy. The Raptors lost that game, his second game ever. I'm like, it doesn't matter. This guy is awesome. I know he's been in the league for a while. He's bounced around. He just gives a damn more than half of these guys. And he's, of course, still talented. He's in the NBA. Everybody's talented. But, I'm all in. I'm tweeting second regular season game ever. Kyle Lowry's my favorite all-time Raptor. It's like, and so to see this come true, to see me with Nora 20 years later, and to see Kyle Lowry taking this team to a championship, being a big part of it. Kawhi Leonard played a part as well, but maybe another one. My goodness.
We got to get my man a dog. He's got a lot of love to give out here.
I'm looking at dogs right now.
I know. Guarantee that dog's going to be named Kyle.
See, how do you feel about if you go and adopt a dog, and the dog has a name, because they give all the dogs a name, right, to adopt? Can you change the dog's name?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we got yams, she was called Rona. We said, "You're not a Rona."
Oh, yeah.
Could have been bad these days.
Yeah.
But she was brown and lumpy. We called her yams, and it stuck.
That's a perfect name for her, by the way.
Because we're looking at a dog named Harley right now.
Oh, Harley Jarvis.
Yeah, that's pretty good name.
Sucked.
I don't mind the name. Okay, I just want to know if you can change it. Anyway, I got a lot of love to give, and I'm pumped up. Cass, take it away.
Yeah, that's the jumping to conclusions we need.
Hell yeah, Raptors, man. Raptors
They're
in
winning a
5, I say.
title. Yeah, on the back of Kyle Lowry. Well, Kyle Lowry saved this series, undoubtedly, in Game 3. He saved this thing. He started to look like he did in Game 6 against that Golden State series. He's feeling it so much that people in the bubble are having the conversation. According to our colleague at The Athletic, Sam Amick, they're having the discussion. Is Kyle Lowry a Hall of Famer? Which, hey, we've been having the same conversation. We've been discussing it as well, but that's how good he's playing. That's the kind of enthusiasm we need. And, he's got that classic Kyle Lowry thing going on late in the fourth quarter, 35 seconds left. He took that monstrous chicken wing off-arm charge from Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum didn't even complain. They're down 6, and Jason Tatum was driving in, kind of shoved him off. That's the Kyle Lowry we need. That's he's doing it all. And I was actually thinking about that and thinking about people saying that I'm not wet in the chat here. I'm thinking about that. I was thinking about that
You're
wet
not that
spot.
excited, eh?
I was excited to see Fred VanVleet hit the floor on a defensive possession. The ball went up the other way, and then it came back down. And then OG Anunoby's trying to play defense, and he slipped, and that's when Jaylen Brown hit his first three. I thought the Raptors conspiracy theorists would be out there. Oh, they're leaving the wet spots out there on the defensive end so our players can slip and fall. But that was a little dangerous. He was sliding like it was a hockey rink, like it was Game 7 of the New York Islanders series there. We're into the semifinals of hockey. You guys excited?
No,
there
I couldn't care less.
0%.
No, I don't care at all.
I think there was 3 Game 7s to get into the semifinals.
Okay. Well, that's exciting.
Well,
Nice.
listen, it's just that there once was a time when there was no sports, and now there's too many sports.
Oh, yes.
Trey's wearing a Pirelli hat. What?
That's right. We got a big F1 race today.
Hey, isn't it on right now?
It's happening right now. I'm trying to avoid all the spoilers in the chat. But, it's tough to avoid spoilers when you're talking F1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, don't worry. We're going to get to the Kentucky Derby a little bit later in the show. Oh, yeah. I've slipped it into the show rundown. Anything else to add from this one, guys? I mean, we got a pivotal Game 5 in this series coming up on Monday. And that will be, that's an extremely pivotal Game 5. Anything, though, you want to chuck in there, Lily?
No home team has won a game yet. This is the Raptors' turn to win one. So,
right.
Yeah, I know.
It's still hilarious.
I'm grinding that joke into the ground, but why not? Who cares?
All right. Well, let's move on here to the other game from yesterday. The Nuggets lead wire to wire. Top the Clippers, tie the series at 1 game apiece. A little surprising, sure. I mean, they got off to a huge lead and held on to the victory. Lee, biggest takeaway from the Nuggets Game 2 victory over LAC.
So many positives to take out of this from Denver. They did. They jumped the Clippers, gave them the old punch in the mouth from the start, which is great to see. It was led by their stars, Jamal and Nikola Jokic. They got lots of contributions from other guys as well. Millsap, I thought, was good in this game. Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr. coming off the bench gave them a bit of a lift as well. And even
Jeremy Grant was fantastic defensively.
Their defense, I thought, was exceptional too. There was several times where the Clippers were in the paint and there was 2 or 3 Denver Nuggets contesting a shot, blocking shots, and really making the Clippers feel them in the paint, which is important. But the biggest takeaway for me is we knew the Clippers were going to come back. This was a 20-point lead in the first half, and it was like in the NBA that never lasts, especially in the playoffs. The biggest question for me was, would the Nuggets be able to hold on to this game and win it? And there was a crucial moment about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I think it was Paul George hit a 3, brought it to a 5-point game. And that was the sliding doors moment of the game. What would the Nuggets do from here? Would they collapse and be down 2-0 and just show that first quarter and that first half surge was nothing more than like, all right, we just don't want to get swept? Or would they actually be able to maintain what they've played up to for that point? And they did. They came out and hit 3 threes after that and basically stretched the game out and kind of sealed it from there. You know, like it sort of sent the message to the Clippers, like, we're not going away. And again, it wasn't just Murray and Jokic. It was other guys contributing. And so to me, it did sort of say, I think, the Clippers to win this in 5. But after watching that performance and the way that they won that wire to wire, I'm a little more now convinced that the Nuggets can make this a better series and a longer series. I still think the Clippers ultimately win it, but if it goes 6 or 7 now, I wouldn't be surprised, because I just thought that the Denver Nuggets, after game 1, remember the first quarter, they started off well and then they just kind of sunk from there. And Michael Malone said, we need to have better energy for the entire game. And they absolutely did last night. So a very impressive performance from everyone. Jokic, again, was great, and so was Murray. But really important that those other guys contribute and make this more than just a sort of like a run in that first quarter just to get it out of the system. They actually sustain that for the entire game. So that's what I thought was most important for the Nuggets, that there's something there that they can build on going forward in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the most common prediction, even here on our show, was Clippers in 5. Trey did have Clippers in 6. But yeah, you're right. A little bit of fight there from Denver, and to sustain it, because you knew the run was coming, and it came. And, after it was that 5-point game, it was, Jamal Murray and Gary Harris hitting consecutive 3-pointers to blow the lead back open. And then you had Patrick Beverley getting thrown out of this one for being upset he couldn't get the charge call when he dropped to the floor and stuff like that. And Kawhi Leonard, Tess, I mean, he is human. We joke he's a machine, but I guess he is actually still human. It was his lowest scoring playoff performance since 2016 against the Memphis Grizzlies. 52 postseason appearances ago that Kawhi has struggled that much from the floor in terms of shooting the ball and just getting up the points. But this is a good win. What were your big takeaways there, Tass?
Yeah, I'm not sure which side to kind of put my hat on here, because is it just a Clippers sort of laying it down, laying this game to the Nuggets, or is it the Nuggets really taking it to the Clippers? I kind of lean towards the latter. I don't think the Clippers, if they're into this game, allow 44 first quarter points, 20-point lead in the first quarter. Kawhi can have some bad games, but they should still be able to win if they play a little defense. And I just thought it really was 44 points in the first quarter. A lot of the time, even Zubats was stuck on Millsap, and that's how he got his open threes. I just thought the rotations were bad. And then the bench came in and did a good job. I think one credit should be given to Michael Malone for not being reactive in this series. Like going back to game 1, he made a choice and put in Gary Harris into the starting lineup. And that really has helped defensively to help out on Paul George. He was his primary defender. Gary Harris has gotten it going. Jeremy Grant is as decent a matchup as you can get for Kawhi Leonard, and that kind of puts their bench in a better order with Monte Morris going back to the bench. So they've got 2 balanced lineups, but I just didn't understand the way the Clippers came out. Regardless of the shooting, that was just bad. It was pretty bad, and I'm okay saying that. I'm comfortable saying that the Nuggets, they're obviously very good, but the Clippers were just lackadaisical. Like a lot of the time we'll say, hey, the Rockets weren't good. Give credit to the opponent of a team. And that usually that team's fans will come at us and say, come on, give us the credit. Right. But I don't see Nuggets fans coming after us. So I'm comfortable saying it was obviously a combination of both, and getting Jokic involved was good. It was really, really smart to get, Murray more pick and rolls with him. And the defense, I don't know, it made me want to vomit, but they didn't give it up. As you said, I was bad.
Yeah. Doc said, he's quoted after the game, they just played more aggressive. There it is. That's the classic, thing you say after you get embarrassed. They got into us the entire game, and right from the jump they did. We all knew the Clippers were not going to sweep this because they do this, right? They do play the the flipping of the proverbial switch there on and off. You knew they're going to give them a game or just have a bad performance. We just didn't know when. And now the question is, will there be another, because the Nuggets gain a little confidence from this? They find something that works. Obviously, their stars in Murray and Jokic played a lot better than game 1. What do you think, Trey? I mean, your big takeaway going into the series, your key was Jokic. The Joker, he was dominant right from the jump. And 26 and 18 is a hell of a line. I don't care who it's against or how, not hard they're playing.
Yeah, and, I wanted a 12-inch from Nikola Jokic. I feel like we got about a 9-inch yesterday. He had an incredible first half, right? Like, he was dominant in the first half, and then he kind of lazed his way through the second half, but everybody else on the Nuggets was playing defense and really committed to smashing Kawhi Leonard inside. It seemed like every time he was getting into the post, they would send 5 guys at him. It seemed like, just a whole bunch of bodies for him to try and figure out a way to get a shot up, and it wasn't happening because like you're saying, we've seen the Clippers do this year in and year out, or not year in and year out, game in and game out. It just happens they take some games off. So I imagine the Clippers will come back and play a little bit harder, but credit to the Nuggets for coming out and hitting first, right? They won that first quarter by 19 points. They ended up winning this game by 19 points. Things were pretty even after the first quarter, and you could just tell that the tone for the Nuggets was different. I don't really get how that happens. They played game 7. They went into game 1. They're like, we're exhausted. Then they had to play 2 days later, and suddenly they're not exhausted. So what happened in those 2 days? How come you're not tired now after playing one more game? I guess it's probably because you didn't have to actually play in that fourth quarter, but it was impressive from Jokic and Murray to go out there and say, we need to win this game. If we have any chance in this series, we can't get down 2-0. Even if the Clippers do take some games off here and there, you don't want to be in a 2-0 hole because then you need an OG Anunoby game winner to really turn the tide. It can be tough. So impressive from the Nuggets to go out and get a full team effort. I thought Gary Harris was really good. Jeremy Grant, like you guys were saying, was instrumental defensively. And Michael Porter Jr. is making an impact defensively as well after being a guy who was kind of getting picked on in round 1.
And I'll say this, you just don't see it often. Jamal Murray dropping Kawhi Leonard there, or putting him on skates, I guess is the better way to put it. Holy crap. That step back was nasty. And again, to see Kawhi be in that position, and you see it sometimes with a defender who's maybe not as great, but holy moly, he had him. He was gone. And then he hit the 3.
Set the tone with that from the first possession. Gary Harris, Patrick Beverley as well. I just thought you mentioned the game 7 thing going to game 1. What the heck happened? It's every 2 days. I went back to last season to try and confirm that story because the Nuggets played a 7-game set in the first round against the Spurs. 2 days later against the Blazers. Well, maybe they lost that first game against the Blazers handily. They won that game 1 in round number 2. But I already have Nuggets fans coming after me, which is great. This is fantastic. I'm definitely all the kudos to them for playing great defense. Nuggets played their ass off on defense. I think the excuses for the Clippers are them playing defense the way they did against the Nuggets. On that end of the floor, I don't know if we're going to see that again. If we're going to see a 44-point quarter, that it is an excuse for sure that the Clippers lay some eggs, and we talked about it all throughout the regular season. There was some stanky eggs from the Clippers every few weeks. They were raunchy. They were overcooked. They were, or sometimes they were underdone. I don't know. They do lay eggs, and now I don't see that happening in game 3 to start game 3.
We will see. All right. Before we get to the up-down report here on today's podcast, a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Okay, it's been a while. Let's get to the up-down report.
Prepare your tubes. It's the up-down report.
Yeah. There's that dubstep. Sounds so good here on a Sunday. All right, first one here. This one we had to get into the show. During Friday's Bucks Heat game, Reggie Miller noted how difficult it is to actually challenge shooters in the modern NBA. He then suggested that if his career was taking place today, if he was playing, he would be averaging 45 points per game. Now, he may or may not have been kidding. We're not sure. So, are you up or down, Lee, on Reggie's bold statement that he could be scoring or averaging 45 points per game if he was playing right now? Up or down?
No. Reggie was a great shooter.
Going down.
We know that. But this is something we hear from retired players, particularly those who were big in the 90s a lot, that, no hand checking. And now that, no, you're not allowed to give them a place to land. I would average, 10 times as many points as I averaged back in the day. The funny thing is Reggie for his career averaged about 18 or 19 points a game, but we know him as a 3-point shooter. He's the second most all-time made, but he only took less than 5 a game. Right now in the current league, that would have him 93rd in attempts for the game. Brook Lopez took 4.8 a game. That was Reggie was about 4.7. So the game has changed a little bit. I think Reggie was more just sort of talking about the physicality and how when he played, that sort of stuff happened to him all the time, and he didn't get free throws. I think that's more the point he was making, even though we know Reggie as well as the sort of guy who's credited with the kick out with his legs to try to draw contact.
He's the pioneer of that,
exactly.
Of drawing contact
and
a 3-point shooter. Yeah.
And ironically as well, I looked at his stats. He averaged more free throw attempts a game than 3-pointers, but of course the game was different back then. I know it was only a slight change, but that's I think more what Reggie was saying, that if every time he jumped and someone landed underneath him and he got free throws, then he would just go to the free throw line time and time.
And he was
again.
pretty
But
automatic at the free throw line.
He was 89% for his career. Yeah, one of the best. But 45 a game still, I don't think so, Reggie.
Oh, come on, big up. He would be the best player in the NBA by a huge margin. He'd be better than.
Oh,
Whoa.
You cut him off.
Something so controversial will get you booted, I guess, from this show. JD just gets him out of here. He doesn't want to hear that. Good work there, JD. He's back.
Cut him off. Oh, yeah, you're trying to cut me off? Are you kidding me? I don't get it. I'm just going to continue midstream here. I just don't get it. You got to think about what you say, Reg. I understand why he's saying it, but so no player comes close to averaging 45 a game. Why are we even going to evaluate? MJ wouldn't average 45 a game.
Let me ask you this. If he had said, if Reggie had said
45, getting 45 in a game twice, 3 times, 4 times, okay, is different than doing it for 80 games. That's a lot. No player comes close to it. So he's better than Kevin Durant. He's better than LeBron. He's better than everybody.
Yeah, he's exaggerating for the broadcast, I think. But I wanted to ask you, if Reggie had said, I would have averaged 30 points per game in today's NBA. Now, is it that insane?
No,
Trey? No, I don't think so.
I think 35 is in range for Reggie Miller. Bradley Beal averaged 30 points per game this year. You think Reggie Miller's better than Bradley Beal? Probably. How many foul calls is Reggie getting kicking his feet out? A ton. How many more threes is he shooting? A ton. He would be playing like Bradley Beal. I don't think 35 a game is out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I think so as well. The one counter to the kick out is he probably would get called for more offensive fouls now because they call that. But he's definitely jacking up at least 10 threes a game, doubling that. And he was a decent 3-point percentage shooter. And he's getting the free throw. So I think 30 to 35 is no doubt that's Reggie. Because as well, he's the guy they're setting screens for. He's not doing it off the dribble like Steph Curry. He's Klay Thompson, basically. Klay hasn't averaged 35.
No, see, we're going too high on 30. I'm sorry. Like I think it's more in the ballpark. 35. Yeah.
Well, what did James Harden average last year?
34 and change, right?
Yeah.
Or you get the 35? Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, I just hope for Reggie's sake he wouldn't hit a wedgie because people would call him Wedgie Miller. So he's called himself Wedgie Miller before.
All right, let's hear from everybody out there.
Wedgie. We'll get to it later. There's a wedgie coming, baby.
That's right. Number 41 on the season. With all of these, by the way, tweet at us at NoDunksInc, thumbs up or thumbs down, or if you're joining us live on YouTube, let's see your answers in the comments. All right, next one here. Friend of the pod and ringer writer Rob Mahoney, he tweeted during the Lakers-Rockets game one that, quote, PJ Tucker is a gravitational anomaly. This had at Trenton Hassels, which is a great Twitter name, wondering, do you think you could push Tucker to make him move 1 inch? Fascinating question, and I want to ask it specifically about Rob Mahoney, because we know Rob Mahoney. Trey, you do. Are you up or down on Mahoney's chances of actually moving PJ Tucker back 1 inch? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
My Rob Mahoney scouting report is about a decade old, but it was a legendary pickup game we played once upon a time. Rob Mahoney in attendance, of course. Yeah. Ethan Sherwood Strauss shooting floaters. I think we had Graydon Gordy in there, and even Graydon's dad playing basketball with us because we needed one more person. So this is the perfect place to think, can Rob Mahoney actually move PJ Tucker? An even crazier question than can Reggie Miller average 45 a game in the NBA? But Rob has great size for an NBA writer. He's got great footwork for a big man. He walks into the gym. You're like, the lead singer from My Chemical Romance is here to play basketball, and then he puts you in the blender. But can he move PJ Tucker? Yeah, I think he can, actually. I think he can drop his shoulder in him, get him to move back a little bit. PJ Tucker is very strong, but LeBron was still going through him. He just wasn't able to finish. You can move him. You can't do anything with the shot afterwards, but I think this would be a pretty cool, carnival attraction, right? You've got the hammer where you hit it, bing, goes up to the top. You got the thing that you punch. You get your score for that. Let's have a PJ Tucker ram. You ram your body into PJ Tucker as hard as you can, and whoever, puts up the highest score gets to take home a gigantic bear or whatever. Well,
I don't mind that. It's sort of like sumo wrestling, I guess, in a way.
Sure.
Too. You can make it that. Got barrel into it. So how big is Rob Mahoney, for those that don't know? He's almost your height, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 6'3",
He's like 6'4", probably something like that.
Okay. He's a big guy. Yeah, I'm with you. I think he can move Tucker a little bit, Tass. Don't say something controversial here, Tass.
Get him out of here.
For sure. Rob Mahoney in today's game could average 44 to 45 points a game. I remember Robbie on the floor. Sure. He could pour it in. He was a classic dinker and dumper man. Get it in the post to Rob Mahoney, he would score. I think he could battle PJ for an inch or two.
I agree. Leo, anything to add to this one?
Yeah, well, actually, no, because this is like about 10 years ago. I had a friend's wedding, and Steve Nash was at the wedding, and on the day of the wedding, we're out in Victoria and out in British Columbia. Beautiful. It was in August, and we played a full court, fully timed soccer match. Like there was about 30 people playing, but it was on a full size pitch.
Okay.
And we played 2 45 minutes plus injury time halves.
What?
Yeah, I know. Steve Nash played. Steve Nash's dad played, who was incredible. And I think his brother played as well. Now,
Martin.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, and I was on the
everybody was gnashing out there that day.
I was on the opposing team to Steve Nash, and at one point he came down. And it was almost like a basketball move where the ball was coming into the box, and I went up to try to body him, and I could not move him at all. Right now, Steve Nash is 6'3" and 190 pounds or something like that, and I couldn't move him. Now PJ Tucker's 6'5" and it feels like he's about 400 pounds.
He's like 240 or something.
Yeah. So I couldn't move Steve Nash at all that day. I don't think anyone's moving PJ Tucker unless you are LeBron James. So sorry, Rob, I don't think you can do it. I just don't think so. He's immovable.
I should point out that Rob responded to @Trenton_Hassles and said, I feel like I would break my collarbone or something even if I tried. So it sounds like Rob's thumbs down on this too. Maybe we're giving a little too much credit. Wow, that was a great flex there from you there, Lily. Yeah. I was playing soccer with Steve Nash.
You should have seen this guy in the air. Incredible how he was able to do proper soccer headers, flick it on. And
I've actually seen it firsthand because we went once upon a time to his what was it called?
Showdown on Chinatown.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Showdown in Chinatown, the Steve Nash charity soccer game that he would do around the draft every year, and we went and covered it a couple times. Once or twice we went to cover that. Yeah.
Well, Martin, his brother, played for the Whitecaps, and their dad was an incredible soccer player, and their mum was an incredible netball player. So pretty good genes in the Nash family there.
Yeah, but you should see Graydon Gordian's dad hit a mid-range jumper.
Graydon Gordian's dad can hoop.
Oh, really?
He's an awesome playmaker, man. He's the perfect 4th or 5th guy you want on your team. Yeah, he's incredible. He's good.
Is he a talker?
No. Graydon does all the talking. In that family. Right. Yeah. No. He was fun to play with though. Wow, I forgot we did that with. Is that 10 years ago? Is that what you said? It'd be about that.
It's gotta be something like that.
Oh, wow. That was in. Where were we? We were in Austin. Yeah.
Seems like just yesterday we were running through the subdivision trying to catch Graydon's dog.
Who let it out of the backyard? Who didn't close the gate? Oh,
come on.
Goodness. All right, final one here. So we're chasing dogs to chasing horses here. Authentic, guys, upset the heavy favorite, Tiz the Law, to win the 146th Kentucky Derby on Saturday at Churchill Downs, ridden by John Velasquez. Authentic led from start to finish and won by 1 1/4 lengths, giving trainer Bob Baffert his record-tying 6th Derby champion. Just in case you're wondering, yes, Bob Baffert looks exactly like you think a Bob Baffert would look like. There he is.
Oh, yeah. What a legend.
That guy's definitely looks like a Bob Baffert to me. So congrats to him. So, Tass, I have no idea if you even watched this thing. Are you up or down on Authentic's wire-to-wire Kentucky Derby win?
No, I did not take in any horse action, but I was scrolling around trying to read about basketball, and I did see Bob Baffert's face, and I saw him actually a little bit of his video at the press conference, and hearing an owner of a horse accept the reins, accept the championship, it's like hearing the owner of a basketball team accept the trophy after the finals is done. Nobody wants to hear from Bob Baffert. Nobody. I thought he looked a lot like Mickey Arison to a degree. So maybe that bodes well for the Heat winning this championship coming up. Congrats to Woodford Reserve. A lot
No,
of,
you know, he looks like Will Ferrell in Eastbound and Down.
Schaefer, for
Ashley
sure.
Schaefer. Yeah.
You can feel it in his plums.
I can feel it in my horse's plums.
Speaking about feeling it in the plums, you saw Baffert take a shot in the victory circle yesterday. The horse kind of freaked out a little bit. That's why you can't trust horses.
No, you can't. You can't. Oh man, it took down a couple people. The winning horse.
Took a shot of Woodford Reserve. Oh no, he got hit. I get it.
Got hit by a horse.
So
hit by a horse.
Lee, did you watch the Kentucky Derby?
No, I actually forgot all about it. That I know we talked about it yesterday, so I can't even remember who I picked, but it wasn't that guy. So yeah,
No,
it's a great day out. It's a great day out at the races, but it's just impossible to watch during the day unless you've got just money on every single race. You know, you can't just watch a horse race and not have money invested. Otherwise, it's like, who cares?
Yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah.
And that's funny you say that because I know Trey was asking in our Slack channel, like right after we got done wrapping up the show yesterday, he's like, what time is this on? And I just looked it up and it said 2:30. And so I tell Trey 2:30. You know what time they raced that, Trey? Like
2:30 a.m. Oh my goodness!
Like 6:30 or 7. I think they got to the actual, like, because they have other races. I forgot about that part. It's not just like the one thing, but yeah, that's a big win. 7th fastest time ever in the Derby for Authentic, and paid quite handsomely. I think 18-1 odds there. So
Cam Stewart might have backed it then.
I think Cam had money on every horse in that race. Can't lose.
I saw Mr. Big News came in 3rd, so Tassie was the only one of us who got somebody on the podium. I don't think they call it that for horses because they can't walk upstairs.
I thought it was JD's pick, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Who knows? Who knows?
I was definitely Mr. Big News.
Yeah, congrats. Way to hit the box. I mean, the trifecta. I mean, I don't know, scratch. I don't know what.
I don't have
horse talk.
No
that horse showed.
That horse showed you something.
He showed.
So nobody watched this though, unfortunately.
No, I tuned in at 2:30 thinking, let's see these horses stride through the dirt. Let's see what they do. Good luck to all the horses. Nobody here knows any idea how to talk about a horse race, but I turned it on. They said we got 7 races, and suddenly they were racing 4 hours later. How long were those first 6 races? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. They're only going around once. I mean, how long can it take?
Gotta drag it out. It's like NBA horse. They put NBA horse on during the hiatus because we needed to sell some more ads. That's why they had an 8-hour show.
Yeah.
Got to sell those horse ads.
When I did tune in, because I tuned in thinking it might start at 2:30 like an idiot, the actual one, they did remind me of last year's race. Do you guys remember the controversy in the 145th running of the Derby?
There always seems to be some controversy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was it?
It was like the horse won. They said like, oh, congratulations, horse. Here's your flowers, and everything. But then like video review, basically for 20 minutes, they like debated whether the leading horse had sort of basically, what do you call it? Like ran interference. On a horse on the outside. And they did. They overturned it. It was crazy.
Who's the Steve Javy of the horse world? Did they have to go to him?
What was Cam's story? Brian Blessing. That's the Javy. All right. Good horse talk. I'm glad we got that in. Everybody loves the Derby. I don't know which one's next because there's the
Triple Crown, isn't it? Yeah, Belmont Stakes, is it?
Yeah, that sounds right. Oh, Belmont, you'd love to smoke one of those right now, wouldn't you, Lee? All right, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
All right, TK, what do you got, man?
I've got one of the most despicable tweets I've ever seen in my entire life.
Whoa.
It comes from Chris Herring at Herring_NBA, who tweets, I wonder if the NBA could create wedgie-proof rims.
Wow.
Excuse me? How dare you? But honestly, thank you for everybody who had our backs on this, because as soon as Chris tweeted this, Fred Cass steps in, he says, but then we'd have no wedgies. Then we have people tweeting at us, don't you say that. Don't you ever say that. But then I wouldn't be able to make in-context puns like Reggie Miller. And then, of course, so many people adding us at No Dunksing saying these guys, you'd be putting them out of a job if there was a wedgie proof rim, basically. Saying taking away the greatest contribution we've ever made to the NBA world. How dare you, Chris Herring, even suggesting this on a night when we did have a wedgie.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Right. I mean, I'm assuming he tweeted that after the wedgie occurred, right? He didn't just think about it in advance. That would be really wild. Yeah, we got wedgie 41 last night. It was Gary Harris, I think, stuck it. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, late in the Nuggets Clippers game. Shout out to everyone that jumped on Twitter or Instagram to let us know. Holy moly, people were excited for number 41 task because it had been a while since we had one.
It had been a long time. Wow. A world with no wedgies, just like a world with no Garys. Apparently, there's going to be no Garys in a few years. Parents aren't going to be naming their kids Garys. But Gary Harris stuck that one on a layup. Sometimes I like to call him Harry Garris. He's got one of those names you can just switch the first and the Nuggets have a bunch of those guys. Swap the initials, their first and last name. But we're seeing a lot of layup wedgies recently. They're coming on vogue here. I don't know what's happening, but 41 also means that it's not the lowest season in modern NBA history for the amount of wedgies. Even though we've had the fewest amount of games, 40 was our low in 17-18.
Okay, that's good to know. And so look, even I'll admit at this point, 50 is going to be extremely, extremely difficult.
Could Reggie Miller average 45? Can we get 50 wedgies this season?
I mean, we don't have a ton of basketball left, really, when you think about it. No,
but they come in bunches.
They do come in bunches. Yeah, it'd be nice to get like 2 today.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be beautiful because then we could maybe have a chance. But all right, congrats to Gary. Congrats to everybody for coming into our defense there when Chris Herring
thank you very much.
Just suggested that disgusting thing that he did. I don't even want to say it again. It's gross.
What an insult.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's get to today's games. Task, set the table. They're starting soon here, right? We got an afternoon game, I think.
Doubleheader on ABC, but they're spaced out 3:30 Eastern for Bucks Heat. Game 4. Heat trying to stave off elimination, or the other way around. The Bucks are trying to stave off elimination. And no one actually knows what the planned game schedule is in the bubble when they would start the conference finals. But the Heat seem to be playing for a week off because I don't think they will be starting until Monday, probably the following Monday, September. What would that be? 14th, approximately. So,
maybe the Sunday, I guess, right? If they're okay. Wow,
that's possible.
That's a big gap.
Yeah, so they'll be playing for that, I think. And Giannis Antetokounmpo questionable with an ankle injury. We've talked about it a ton, but let's get a quick one. Let's get a quick one. Let's not make this horse talk. Get a quick one because then we can talk about the second game. Get a quick prediction. Trey, what do you think? Are they sweeping?
Give me the Heat. I don't think they're gentlemen at all. I don't think that they're going to take a game off, and I think they'll let the Bucks take this one.
All right. Skeets, what do you think?
100% agree. This one's over. Oh, JD thought we were going to lead there for a second. Yeah, this one's a wrap. The Heat had this wrapped up after the Game 2 victory, so this one's over. Goodbye, Milwaukee.
Lee, thoughts?
The Bucks keep it alive. They played well enough to convince me that they've got one last roll of the dice in them. It's going to be a gentleman's sweep, but the Bucks extend the series today.
I'm going to have to agree. With you. I will take the Bucks as well.
What's the line on that one? You got it in front of you?
No.
Oh. I can't watch basketball unless I'm betting on it. It's like horse racing to me.
What do we think? The line has moved a little bit because of Giannis's injury.
Oh, right. Is Giannis playing? That's a big thing.
What are we talking about?
I would assume the Heat then are favored. I don't know, by 2 or something?
Yeah, 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Next game.
I guess.
Lakers-Rockets, 8:30 Eastern. Obviously, very exciting to see how the Lakers will bounce back after the Rockets. A dominating Game 1 win. Yeah, you can call it dominating. Sure. Oh, yeah. Will the Lakers bounce back around the horn? Top left in my view here. Trey, what do you think? Lakers bounce back?
I think Lakers bounce back. The Rockets are known to be a pretty good Game 1 team. The Lakers and LeBron and now apparently Anthony Davis like to take a Game 1 off every now and then. We already have heard that Anthony Davis is now willing to play the 5 for the entirety of the game. If Frank Vogel decides that's something they want to do, I think the Lakers bounce back and even things up tonight.
Skeets, what do you think?
I agree with that. I think the Lakers win. I think the story after Game 2 that we'll be talking about come Monday morning will be the Lakers parade to the free throw line and maybe some foul trouble even for the Rockets guys. I think LeBron and AD are really going to put the pressure on them and on the officials here in Game 2. That's my dumb prediction. So, yep, I got the Lakers tying this one up.
Late.
History tells us that LeBron does bounce back in game 2, and James Harden's Rockets tend to take the game 2 off. So I think it also will be 1-1. I'd be shocked. Imagine the Lakers' world if the Lakers are down 0-2.
Oh, baby.
Wow. So, yes, 1-1 after tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how Frank Vogel plays it. If he does play Anthony Davis a ton, I think they tend to start with their bigs, JaVale McGee, and then go from there. But when Chris Bosh went out in that first championship run for the Miami Heat, that was against the Indiana Pacers and Frank Vogel when he went out. And then they decided, oh, yeah, Bosh should play the 5, baby. So I'm sure they're waiting for that. It's the Draymond Green thing. They're waiting to play him as much as at the 4 as possible, so they don't burn him out. But some point, they're going to put him at the 5. Yeah, I think the Lakers do bounce back and just like they did against the Blazers, have a really good game too.
Yeah, we will see. See how much Rondo plays here tonight too. How angry Lee will be talking about Rondo on Monday's podcast. I'm excited for that as well. All right, let's call it there. Thanks for joining us here on Sunday. Email us your questions and comments to nodunks@theathletic.com. If you listen to the podcast on iTunes, leave your boys a 5-star rating and review. If you watch on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button so you know when we're going live. And you can grab your No Dunks t-shirts over at nodunks.com. Grab your merch. Hey, guys, when you're buying your merch, be careful to double check your shirt size. We've had a couple people say, I accidentally ordered an extra small. I hate to say this to you. It says right there, all sales are final, mainly because the company we work with, they're just not equipped to sort of do returns and stuff like that. So again, all of this money is going to charity, so we ain't making $1 off it. So if anything, just buy another shirt and give more money to charity. But just just double check that you got your size selected correctly before you actually press proceed to checkout and all that. But thank you so much to everybody that's already bought one, and continue to do so at nodunks.com. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, no one cares to hear the owners of horses talk about their horses. Nobody cares.
Sorry, Bob Baffert. Embrace the day, people.
You could stay